This podcast is part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts, visit red5network.com.
Wait, there's something very weak coming through.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, fellow Galactic listeners. I'm Aaron Julian, and this is WSTR Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 260. We hope you and yours are well, and with everything crazy going on, we want to continue to be a platform that promotes positivity, life, and hope, and a little Star Wars along the way. Today, we have the distinct privilege to have a very special guest. Most recently, you know him from various roles he has played on The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Actor Chris Bartlett. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's great to be with you guys tonight.
Such a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for being here. And we've also got Miss Heather Allred.
Droids are better than people.
Oh.
Just figured it out. And Miss Carla Giacalone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
All right. And Heather, it's been a while. Why don't you go ahead and tease that news?
It would be my pleasure. All right. Our first news item. I've been contemplating, do I say it? Do I sing it? And I want to keep everybody here for the rest of the show, so I will not sing it. And that first item is total eclipse of the heart.
Ooh.
I know, right? Ooh. Our second news item may or may not be one of your favorite shows, and that is Parks and Rec. But that doesn't mean the news item is about Parks and Rec, but it is a funny show.
True.
So we'll see how that plays out. We've got two more to go. So our third news item is One with the Force.
All right.
And then lastly, I have 300 plus.
Okay.
No
Get out
idea
your
what that
decoder
means.
rings. Start figuring out what those news items could mean. And in the meantime, it's time for our main topic.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right. So, Chris, once again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're so happy to have you here.
Of course. It's great to see you again, Carla.
Yes. So we had met at Rhode Island Comic-Con this past year. We got to hang out at your table for a little bit. Saw you at the Mandalorian panel. We got to chatting, and so just super, super excited to have you here and chat with us for the episode.
Of course. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So to kind of launch this, we asked all of our guests this very first question. How did you get into Star Wars? Kind of a big one, but what got your
Professionally or as a fan?
Either one, both.
Let's start with the fan.
Well, a long time ago, 1977, I was 7 years old, and before that, we'd seen the trailers in the theater, the trailers, and so I saw the film in the theaters, and was so ignited in my imagination that I got as many figures as I could, and was just making up stories myself with the figures in the backyard or on the shag carpet or whatever. So that was how I started in Star Wars.
Awesome.
And,
Awesome.
Yeah.
So then from there, how did that kind of roll into your professional introduction with Star Wars?
Yeah. When I saw, I think I was 13 when I saw the making of Star Wars, which was something that aired on television after Return of the Jedi. And it went all the behind the scenes, we see so many of these now, but back then there was nothing else. And so to be able to see this, all of the men and women behind the scenes making the magic of the films, really, I loved seeing how the magic was made. And I decided right then at age 13 or 14 that one day I would work for George Lucas. And, there's no promise of more Star Wars at that point. I just wanted to do whatever, work with him in whatever way I could. but then, life and career happens, and then later I found the 501st and started building my own costumes, and or assembling kits at first, stormtroopers and stuff, and then I did my own costumes and my own projects, which then led to building my own C-3PO costume, and I will shorten this story, but there was a 501st event at Lucasfilm, and they invited stormtroopers. I lived in California. They invited stormtroopers up. I met some wonderful people there, and they invited me to come to the ranch sometime. And I thought, oh, they're just being nice. They're not really gonna do that. But I just became friends with like a couple people there, and we were Star Wars nerds. And whenever I would finish a costume, I'd send them a note, say, "Hey, look at this! I just finished a Boba Fett, or I just finished a Tusken Raider, or here's some Jawas for my kids." And we were just friends. And then when I finished C-3PO, then I got a call to come and finish assembling him at Lucasfilm. Sorry, the costume at Lucasfilm. And so that was a dream come true. And I thought, this is everything I'd always wanted in building costumes. But as I was performing, with the 501st and things like that, I always tried to make my characters as realistic as possible. I didn't want someone to see, oh, that's just a guy in a stormtrooper costume. I wanted them to mistake the stormtrooper for being on loan from Lucasfilm, for instance, or just got done filming something or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I would just always stay in character and talk to people in that way, and try to make the suit perform as realistic as possible. So I went to Lucasfilm. I finished building the suit there and did an audition for C-3PO. Just in the motions, I'd been working on animation and stuff like that, and had been working on the voice. And so the next day we flew out to Sydney, Australia, and I gave a presentation as C-3PO with a pre-recorded voice track, for Star Wars Galaxies, which is a MMO video game back then. That's how I got started professionally. And then they just kept calling me. So this is my 16th year of performing as C-3PO on television, live action C-3PO.
That's awesome. And I know also you had a chance to meet former President Obama too, right? As a C-3PO?
That's true. That's right. The Obamas contacted Lucasfilm, and they had a Halloween event in 2009 at the White House where they were going to have military families come through from the area, and school children from DC area to come to the White House and, trick or treat. And so they said to Lucasfilm, do you have could we get a couple of Star Wars characters? And at Lucasfilm, they said, sure, who would you like? And they said, are C-3PO and R2-D2 available? And they said, yes, actually they are. And so I got a call to for an event at Halloween in Washington, D.C. And they didn't give us any other details. So I assumed it was maybe the Smithsonian or something like that. But the night before we flew out, they said it is at the White House, but we don't know the president's schedule. He's very busy. He's probably not even going to be there. So I said, okay, well, this is great. I'm honored and, privileged to go. So when we got there, we went to the green room, which is the basement of the White House, and I suited up as C-3PO, and Chewbacca was there he just puts on his, pouch. And then I got in the elevator with two local 501st stormtroopers and our representative from Lucasfilm, Mary Franklin, who I love. And so we get on the elevator, we start to ride up to the main floor, but it stops a floor early, and the doors open, and there's President Obama. And he goes,
oh my God.
He says, "Can I get on with you?" And we said, "Why, yes, of course." And so he stands next to me, and I'm trying not to cause a national incident by poking or anything. Well, I get to see the headlines, C-3PO, Star Wars droid C-3PO falls and injures President of the United States. And I was terrified that was going to happen. Yeah. Oh, dear. So anyway, he says, well, you guys look awesome. And I said, why, thank you. I just had an oil bath. It felt so good. No. Anyway. Yeah. So then we get off the elevator and we go, and then we pass out candy with the first family, Michelle and President Obama. And then later we had a picture with them. They asked us to come take a picture. And so I walk up to them, and President Obama says, C-3PO, can you stand next to me? And I said, why, yes, of course. And then he says, oh, wait, can you say something to Michelle for me? And I turned to Michelle. I said, why, it's our pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And then we all started laughing, and then we took this picture. And I actually have the picture. It took 18 months to get it, but I have the picture of us, and it was really special. So
that was amazing.
Yes. Johnny Depp was there in costume as the Mad Hatter, because that was the year Alice in Wonderland came out, and also Tim Burton was there. And then we also went inside and did had a greeting party for the White House staff, and it was really pretty special. No matter how a person votes on either side, it was how rare is it to meet a president of the United States? And I was just so honored to meet him and his wife. And he was just very warm. And I know he is a true Star Wars fan, because he said C-3PO. He didn't say 3CPO or CP30. He said C-3PO. And because I've met over 16 years, I've met a lot of people who call me R2D2 or say any of those other iterations of C-3PO, because they just generally know the films. But he's a real Star Wars fan. So. Yay for him.
That's awesome. What an experience. Wow.
Yeah. I can die happy now that Obama is a true fan.
That's super cool.
Yes.
So you've done all of these different, experiences, these appearances as, the famous Golden Droid. You've met Anthony Daniels. You've talked to him.
Yes.
Has he been a large part in how you prepare for when you suit up as a C-3PO?
Well, he created C-3PO basically as we know him. As he looks, it was the sculptors Liz Moore and George Lucas and Ralph McQuarrie, but how he sounds and his mannerisms were all Anthony. So. Has he influenced my total 100%? That's all I study to try and his performance is all I study to try and come close to his characterization of this really iconic cinematic character. So but also we have met in person and worked together in person, and he has along the way given me a couple little tips here and there. The first time we met, he says, so let's hear you do the voice. And that's like Elvis asking an Elvis impersonator, do my voice.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like I'd been preparing for so long that I was just so starstruck, I think, at that point, that I was like, hello, I'm C-3PO, human cyborg relations, like really fast, And he was like, oh, that's pretty good. Let's slow it down. So I said, and I am C-3PO, human cyborg relations. And he's like, oh, very good. So we worked together on several projects, and he gave me a little bit of tips on animation, and he was very kind and generous. So there's a video on YouTube where C-3PO meets Anthony for the first time. And because they're never in the room at the same time.
Is that at Hollywood Studios?
Right. Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah,
clip.
it was in the promo. That's right. Yeah. So that was something written by Disney, and it was his kind of my life as C-3PO story. And then at the end, he steps behind this screen where you can only see his silhouette, and then the light goes down and the light comes back up, and you see C-3PO's silhouette. And so I step out from behind, and of course he pre-records the voice. So then he comes out, and they're both surprised, that they're seeing each other, and like, you're well known throughout the galaxy. Oh, well, you're well known throughout the galaxy. It's like, a funny bit there, but it was really emotionally, just as a Star Wars fan, to be part of that was, it was like, I thought that I thought I had hit the pinnacle of my experience by just coming to Lucasfilm to, finish assembling the costume, but to work with Anthony was just such an honor. So
there's a touching moment in that clip that I saw where he basically turns to C-3PO, you, and says, I have you to thank for making me famous. And he shakes your hand, and I thought that was so sweet of him.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he was talking, to C-3PO. He wasn't talking to me. But that they, those two really have been all through every, with us the entire time through every Star Wars film and story and animated series. And so it's really, we're so fortunate as Star Wars fans that we have that and have him to, be entertained by. But yeah, you're right. It was very touching. And the audience, you could totally feel it. The audience, when he said that, the audience just had such a moment, that was so genuine and that you could feel it. So, I was really grateful for that experience. And he wrote me a little note, said, "Well done." And so that was really sweet.
That had to have been such a uncanny, surreal moment for you too, to be standing across from him.
Because, right. Because all this time, I think that was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time we had worked directly together. Because before, he would record something and then I would show up and do the work, the animated work. But so being able to do it together, we're rehearsing on stage and everything and working out our timing and stuff. It was just, very special. And since then, 100 times over, I felt like I've been so blessed with that character, and then also the new characters that we've been able to create in the Star Wars galaxy.
So you met the maker.
I met several makers. Yeah, George Lucas, when we relaunched the Star Tours attraction at Disney World. Anthony, of course, as I mentioned, and now Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. There are a few makers, and I feel like I've met them all, and being able to work closely with them has just been so. As you can imagine, you, Carla, as a costumer, and just as you can just imagine, if they were like, "Hey, you look great as Princess Leia. Why don't you come here and work with us and do this?" That you can understand how that might feel.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's indescribable, really.
So you've met Dave. I have to ask.
Yes, I work with Dave. Yes, he and John are both very similar. They just want to talk about Star Wars, and they do talk about it on a higher level. Like, and what I mean by higher level is not just like, the color of red on R5D4. I'm talking about like on a higher level, like how does Grogu relate to Mando? Like in this scene overall, how do they relate? Like that kind of stuff is so wonderful. But then also he likes to just come over and sit and just talk about like, would this creature speak in an alien voice, and we do subtitles, or would he speak in English? and then we just talk about stuff like that. And it's like,
Mhm.
we're just talking about like stuff we would just talk about, just for
Yeah.
fun. I mean, so it's very, it's surreal, like you said, Aaron, but also really satisfying that that's really how it is. They're just fans just like us. So.
Yeah. Especially with people like Dave, it always seemed like he's the perfect blend of person between how do we do this on a technical, practical
Mhm.
level, and how do we merge it with story and character and emotions. Just
Right.
following the same steps as George Lucas.
Right, exactly. I mean, the story is number one, we see some fan films that are, incredible costumes and incredible locations and things like that. And you'd be amazed how much you could do with less visuals if you have a great story.
That's true.
Because you sometimes you see films that are even cinematic films like, oh, they have cool looking characters and it's a cool environment and they're gonna have a shootout or a fight or something like that, but there's no like story. It's just kind of like a showcase of amazing props and costumes. But then every once in a while you see a story like there's one called Birth of a Monster, which was done by Tim Martin, and it's on YouTube. You should go check it out. It has the story of, it tells a story of one fan's interpretation of how the Rancor might have come to be. And there's a little bit of a twist in there as well. And so it's a really great, really well done story, but also it has amazing costumes and characters in it. So for anyone who wants to get into filmmaking, start with a story. Because that's really the bones of your film. You could have costumes, but those are just skin in a pile on the floor if you don't have something to hold it up. And that's really what the importance of story with Dave and George Lucas, what it is to the to the new Star Wars, to all of Star Wars, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's a sad thing when story is used to tell special effects, as George once said.
Right. Exactly.
Todd, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
So talking about, the Mandalorian and, Chris, with Dave and John, what was it like for you that first day on set?
Exactly how you can imagine. Everything slowed down to very slow motion. And my very first day was filming the Ferryman, if you can see in my background there, the Ferryman, who was a Kubaz species, also the same species as Garindin, I guess you pronounce it that way, in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was a spy in the streets of Mos Eisley. So when I put on the costume and I really just kind of played myself, but I did all the lines as in English, and then but stepping up onto that pier, because it's a practical set. That scene where we're way out on the ice, really far, and there's we're on this frozen lake. But everything was practical, within the volume. And so I step up on there, and I've been watching Mando walk to the end of the pier. It's the very first scene in Mandalorian where he walks to the end of the pier and he's holding his tracker. I've been watching him do that all morning. And then they were like, all right, Chris, we're ready for you. And I step up on there and there's ice. It's wet. There's snow blowing. And I felt like...
Typical day in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like literally my Star Wars fan life flashed before my eyes. Like every single thing from when I was a kid, every, playing with figures, in the backyard, or imagining or drawing pictures of battles or Darth Vader or whatever, or playing video games, and then making costumes and trying to make the characters feel really real and building costumes for my kids. And then getting to that point was like, I'd been on stage as C-3PO before, but never in a narrative. Okay, so I'd done one commercial that you could. It was a preview for The Force Awakens, which that came the closest. But now it was in a narrative. It was on a real show that everyone's going to see, and it just felt like I said, everything had come to this point, and it just felt so surreal, and I really didn't want to mess it up.
So you have quite a list of the different characters throughout The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Are there any of those that were more difficult, like whether it was like suiting up or actually, moving around on the set?
Yeah.
Were there any that you like really took to that you preferred to wear over another one?
Oh yeah. Well, Zero. I have an action figure. Zero. His legs were. Wait, hang on. Just let me get the real. The action figure. That was just. Okay.
That's just
the
legs.
Were all CG. So I just had the costume from the waist up, which I looked really cool. I looked really cool from the waist up, but I'm walking around in basically light gray spandex, and it's one of those things you have to be okay.
Casual Friday
yourself as an actor. So anyway, I could sit down, I could take breaks, I could take the helmet off myself. It was great. So he was the most comfortable and my favorite just because he looks so cool. I still think that the most difficult one is, well, I take that back. So far, that you know of, the most difficult one was the Death Star droid or the RA-7 droid in the bar, the cantina in season 1, because I had to do my first stunt as a protocol droid. And that was where there's a shootout and the Death Troopers are shooting outside, and the client, played by Werner Herzog, meets his untimely demise, and so do I, as my first death as a protocol droid.
You're the server droid, right? You're bringing the refreshments.
That's right. And the gag was I'm supposed to carry my tray through the shootout. Very similar to R2 and 3PO crossing the hallway where the troopers and the rebels are firing in A New Hope. And I had to make it to the last point, and somehow everyone has been shot. Except for me, and then I get shot somehow. I guess maybe Grief Karga shot me, or maybe Cara Dune did. I don't know, but and then had to fall on this pad. Okay, that's not so bad, except for when we were rehearsing. Every single time I made it, no problem, made it to the pad, and they're like, "You don't have to fall on it. You made it. It's fine." So we did it like 7 times, every single time perfect. And then now they rigged the whole set with pyro, which is all the explosives and everything. And one of the stormtroopers, you can see this on the gallery. I don't know if you can see the stormtrooper bumping into me, but you can see this on the gallery, the making of Mandalorian, one of the episodes. One of the stormtrooper stunt guys decides to mix it up. And he...
Those stormtroopers!
Yeah, exactly. It's the first time they hit something. I mean, they bump into me, right? And knocked me down. I fell down I lost my balance. So it's partly my fault. I lost my balance after getting knocked by a stormtrooper and fell on the hard ground, no padding, in a fiberglass costume. Thankfully, the costume didn't break. I mean, it didn't crack or anything. We went on and have used it many times, but I was a little broken inside. So what happens is, instead of falling like this in front of the camera, I fell like this, and then you just see my little hand like stick up like this, because I was like, I gotta get off my back. I'm trying to roll over, but you can't, because anyway. So Jon Favreau was like, cut, and him and Deborah Chow came over and said, "Chris, are you okay?" And I was like, "Can you just help me up? I need to take a break." And
can't get up.
He got me up, and I said, "They said, did you get hurt?" And I was like, kind of, but how did it look? Did it look okay? And they're like, oh, it looked awesome, but you didn't fall where you're supposed to fall. So we have to, you need to take a break and then we'll finish shooting it and then have you fall in the right place. So I was like, well, but Deborah Chow said, oh, I'll definitely make the blooper reel. And it did. It shows up on the gallery. So that was pretty cool. But that was the hardest day to that point. Yeah, that was the hardest costume because I had to fall on it. Yeah, but since then I've done many droid deaths, many stunts in the costumes. I do all my own stunts. There's no other person in the costume, and so it's been very gratifying and empowering, strengthening.
You can put that in the business card. You could say droid performer and droid stunt coordinator or something. You know?
I am a stunt performer. Yes. Officially, like that. That's not just me saying it. That's my agent has that in my contract. So I get to do lots of cool stuff. Not just walking around. And anyway.
Well, there's that famous GIF of like when C-3PO is like, I think it's episode 2, where he just keeps on walking and then just falls over, and R2 goes with
Daniels,
him.
Right,
yeah,
right through the plywood.
Yes,
right.
I can't believe nobody I can't believe nobody said stop. Or I can't. I mean, you have such limited vision in the costume. Which let me share something with you. This is the one we use on television, and so you can see just in the little black dots is all you can see through, and they're like straws. Okay, not paper straws. They're regular straws, but they're brass tubes. So I'm going to show you what it looks like to see inside, and really almost all of the protocol droids that have a head like C-3PO look like this. So here's the head. Okay, it's bolted together right here, right? So you can't take it off yourself. So you can't blame Anthony for running into that because you can't see except for straight in front of you. So this is what it's like inside. Okay, many of them are like this. And so you have to black out the lights so that the lights don't shine back at you and blind you. So all you can do is look in the little holes. See there?
Yeah.
And when it's right up close to your eye, it's a little better, but it's still almost impossible to look through, right? It's really small. Right. So anyway, you can't blame Anthony for not seeing that little barrier there, which it's crazy. Anyway.
Does that ever get claustrophobic? Do you ever get that feeling sometimes?
That's the second most asked question, The first one is it hot in there? And
duh.
But as far as claustrophobia, when I first put on the costume, I had a little bit of that, but I wanted to do it so bad that I just said I'll just figure it out. And the way that I figured it out was you don't focus in here, you focus what's out here. And so what I'm seeing is smiles and looks of incredible incredulity, I guess you could say, and just joy at seeing this iconic character. And so I found that when I focus on what's outside, I don't get any kind of feeling, claustrophobia. But if you're like Tony Stark in Iron Man, where you can see all the stuff inside, I think, if I was focusing on the inside, I'd get more, in my head, as they say. But maybe that's a tip for life. Focus on what's out here, and not so much on what's in here. I don't know. So that's to answer your question. That's how I avoid it. And I haven't had any problems since then. 16 years.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you've worked with multiple directors.
Yes.
Did they just say faster, more intense like George, or how has that experience been for you?
Different directors for different things ask, I was doing one thing with a director recently where he said, Chris, I want you to tone it down. And I was like, no, listen, this this is C-3PO. This is, you gotta, or protocol droids in general, they're typically, so, ugh. And anyway, but because of what we were doing and the closeness of this shot, it was important that I tone it down. So it's always better. This is a tip for any aspiring actors. You always want the director to ask you to tone it down instead of the directors trying to give you, say, hey, can you make it more intense? Can you amplify your performance? Because, you don't want a little radio with a tiny knob that's like, oh, can you turn that up? No, I want a big speaker that I can turn down, because then you have a full range. So that was, and then another time, my favorite comment was from Deborah Chow. When I was filming all the scenes with Zero and I was in the cockpit, she said, Chris, I want you to give me that Zero energy. And I was like, I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. So that was cool. Yeah. Anyone else out of context that would like, oh, you want me to tone it down? No.
Yeah. Right.
Zero. Yeah. Right. And so anyway, I have tons more to talk about Zero, but that's, to answer your question. Yeah. You take the direction that they give you. You bring everything you can to the character. You don't want to show up as an empty shell where they have to tell you everything. No, you just try stuff. And that's really what I do is I bring, if I have a character, I invent, his backstory if I don't know it and why he moves the way he does. And then I bring all that stuff. And then if they're like, here's an example. When we were rehearsing the Ferryman, who is in episode 1 of The Mandalorian, he's the Kubaz character with the goggles and the snout out on the ice. I had all the lines in English. And so I just came up with a voice for what he might sound like. And I came up with this, not to stereotype, but an old Russian car salesman. Huh?
It tracks.
Yeah. So, Mando comes up, he wants a speeder. Now he's complaining he doesn't like it because, no droids. And I was like, I assure you this speeder is brand new. It just arrived on the Spinwood freighter. And when John heard that, he was like, oh, that's good. But let's cartoon it down a little. So I was like, great, I can work with that. As opposed to if I was just like, I assure you this speeder's brand new. That's no fun as a director to work with. So ultimately, Dave was like, maybe this creature speaks an alien language. What do you think? And you want people to read? You think people will be willing to read the subtitle? And I was like, yeah, they do it with Jabba, and I think that would. Of course, as an actor, I would have loved to do the voice, but
sure,
I knew what was right for this species, and I wanted him to be. I wanted him to speak, his language. So that's ultimately what he did. But it was so fun to have that conversation, with John and Dave.
And I also feel like R2 doesn't say a single word and has no subtitles, but we all understand his attitude. So,
right?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That's true.
That's a great point, Heather. His emotion is so well portrayed by Ben Burt and the audio engineers and designers. So I think you're right. Again, that's story, right? That's like, oh, I'm getting the story through R2, even though I don't know exactly what he's saying. I can tell, his emotion. So, yeah. No, I love R2, and I've worked with him for many, many years. So, yeah, he knows everything. He knows all. He hasn't had a mind wipe, right?
He knows all. Yeah.
And I've worked with other counterparts as well.
So I wanted to ask this question earlier, but we kind of got off topic.
My fault.
I'm noticing just a thread with your life where you started off, you were a musician for a while, and then you were a UX director, and then you fell into this whole costuming gig. It's a creative life that you lead, and I wonder if you have anything to say about what it's like to lead a creative life and how that maybe has changed or not changed as a result of it becoming a profession? What's that like?
Aaron, that's a great question. As a kid, I was a musician, so I played drums in every single band I could play in, and every kind of percussion. But that was kind of what I got a taste of being on stage and like creating something that people could feel something. Whether it was a song that they related to or what. But then I'm also a graphic artist, and I didn't like go to school to it wasn't my dream to be an actor. I wanted to do something with creating something, like I said before with George Lucas. I didn't know that would be as an actor. I just wanted to do something, with him. And so as a graphic artist, I thought maybe I would, do comics or something. But then I got into, as a graphic designer, designing interfaces. So like in Star Wars, where where they're flying the ships and they're looking, and like say Darth Vader looking on his interface, his heads up display where he sees Luke's, X-wing, and then it lines up and then he fires. Those are user interfaces, and heads up displays, and targeting reticles and information displays. And in film, they're part of the story. But I eventually got into doing them in games. And so I worked on all of the first 4 Gears of War, the Tomb Raider reboot games.
Nice.
And I worked on most recently on Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Warzone. And so for them, I was what's called a user, a UX director. And what that is UX is like design, game design, and UI, user interface, is graphic design. So it's kind of art and game design mixed together. Anyway, to answer your question, the other thing I do outside of work is I build stuff, this stuff at home, and then I also build and restore old cars and motorcycles. I love to make stuff that I can use, and so and that really brings me a lot of joy. So I try to, one day my dad, when I was a young college student, I came home and I said, Dad, maybe I should just be like a optometrist or something, like maybe I should just do something that we know there people will always need. And he goes, no. My dad, who's like an auditor for the federal government, I mean, he was like, I know, no, you are good at what you do, and whatever you love, I want you to focus on doing that, because you will eventually one day master it, or at least be great at it. And 2, you will love doing what you do, because I know what it's like to go to work every day and not enjoy what I do. So I was like, gosh, I'm so glad for my dad. He was really, he's a very creative person too, but more in like a design, as a designer, not in so much as an artist, but that art was my thing. And anyway, so I kind of put art and performing together as that young musician, and also the artist put it together. And I'm grateful for the 501st for introducing me to like high-end costuming. My official 501st number is TK409, which is joined in 2000, and
a low number.
Yeah, right. And so anyway, being creative is just something I love to do, and that has totally blessed my life. I'm grateful for the talents that I've been blessed with, and I get to use them to create great entertainment.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And to anyone who's like thinking of getting into the creative arts, if there's something that you love, if there's something that you love to do, think about it every day, or read about it every day, or maybe you don't know how to do the thing that you really want to do. So read what other people have done about, in that thing, and watch interviews about it. And and I really do feel like people can, I don't know, the word is like manifest it in your life. But for me, where your heart is, there is also where your treasure. And so what you think about and what you focus on is that is how you arrive at your own destiny, and that's how you create your own destiny. And maybe you don't know what you're passionate about. And I found the way to figure out what you're passionate about is what you're curious about. Like what, if you have questions about something, and then if you keep the more you learn about that thing, and if you find you have more questions, and then it's growing, and you keep thinking about that, and you keep wanting to learn about it, and you're learning about it, and it grows, you find that it grows, and that you don't get like stagnated in your thoughts. As it grows, that's how you know that is your thing. The more that you want to learn about it. And maybe it's just, that's your thing for the next, 20 years or something. I was 36 when I started acting. And I didn't get on my own regular television show till I was
37.
What's 2018? So I was like, 8. So anyway.
It's okay, man.
But I mean, just keep going.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you don't know what it is now, find what you're curious about and ask questions about that. If you already know what you're passionate about, think about it every single day and make some tiny step every single day toward that thing. Even if you don't know how to accomplish the whole thing, just do something today that will get you closer to that thing.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right, so we make some transitions to Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you also held a lot of different roles in the Book of Boba Fett. So what was different between going to Mandalorian and now coming on set for the Book of Boba Fett? Did it feel like coming back home, or what was the process there between the two shows?
So in The Mandalorian, every time they called me, I was grateful. And every time I finished something, I was grateful. And if that was all there was, I was thankful. But yeah, I got to do the Ferryman, the RA-7 droid, the teacher droid, Zero. I got to play a cool Imperial gunner. And then when they called for, and then also the RA-7 droid appeared again in the season 2 finale. He was all shined up and not dead, deactivated. And then when they called for the Book of Boba Fett, it was I played the traffic droid.
Love the traffic droid.
Peter Chase. I have a cool story about that. I'll show you in a minute. But and then also what was the server droid in Madame Garza's Sanctuary. Gosh, so much has happened since then. I'm trying to think. The server droid, traffic droid,
and you're the alien, and then you're the alien in the elevator.
Right. Elevator,
You're
also that droid that like escorted the Big Pig's pork and chop to Boba in episode 1.
No, there are no small roles.
That's true.
Those Gamorreans couldn't have got there without me. But
R.I.P.
That was a what a fabulous death they had.
Oh my gosh,
right.
So sad.
Actor, you always, if your character has to die, you always want a fabulous death, and that was fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, I've had several deaths, and all of them are pretty fantastic. Transitioning to the only difference on Book of Boba Fett was Robert Rodriguez, because he was the director that was directing that episode with the speeder chase, and anyway, he same thing as Dave and John. He just wanted to talk about Star Wars. Like he saw the costume and he wanted to talk about it.
You're like, hey, I'm roasting in here. I can't really talk right now. So
it was fine. It was very nice actually that day. But let me. I actually have the traffic droid.
Oh my god!
Here.
Show and tell, baby.
I also have the teacher droid here, the original one from from that episode. Anyway, this is the traffic droid, and you can see how grimy he is, right? Mm-hmm. And also the markings. I don't know. I guess, and the markings he has. So when I first did the show and tell for this character, he was shinier, and he was reflecting all the sand. And I said, I think I don't want audiences to be confused that this is C-3PO, because he was kind of reflecting gold. And so they said, okay, we're filming in 2 days. What can we do to make this not look like C-3PO? I'm like, well, I remember in Clone Wars, there was a droid that had some kind of markings, like one of the first Clone Wars episodes, he had kind of these markings on his face. I was like, what if we did some kind of marking? So I did like 4 different concepts in just mocking them up and showing them to them. And so they picked this one. And
you just sketch it on a napkin. You're like, here, like this.
No, I didn't in Photoshop.
Okay.
But I sent it to them, and they picked this one. And so I had 2 days to like really weather this down, because it was perfectly bumper chrome shiny silver at the beginning.
No.
If I clean this off with warm water and soap, that's what color it is. Anyway, and then I painted these on and weathered it, so it was all beat up, and then did some stuff on the arms as well. So that's the story behind the traffic droid.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, everything was pretty much the same. We're just working with people who are huge Star Wars fans that are directors, and so that was really fun. Yeah.
So
the joy that must have been.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, Chris, because I know that, at Rhode Island Comic Con, there was a little chat during the panel about it, but could you just talk a little bit about your interaction with our favorite little Grogu on the set?
Yes. Well, my very first day that I had anything to do with The Mandalorian was my screen test for Zero. They brought me in to fit me for the costume, and then asked me to do a screen test. And the screen test is where they turn on the cameras and you're kind of in this nicely lit, just plain background, and they just want to see what you do, as an actor. And so this is the first time. The first thing I saw was Brian Mattias's concept art of Zero on the wall before I put it on, and I was like, oh my gosh, he looks so cool. But anyway, as I walk around the corner, I see this little creature on a table, and I was like, what is that? And he's adorable. And I had read some of the script, and I realized who it was, because they just referred to him as the child. And I realized then when I saw him that is actually he is actually the star of the show. It's not the Mandalorian. It's this guy. But I also knew that he was the biggest secret, and I can't believe everyone kept it all the way to the end. Even like merchandising didn't even know.
Yeah.
And so, but when I first saw him, I mean, his big dark eyes, and he was just sitting there on the table, looking up. But then I've gotten to work with him, several times, and he's as real in person as he is on screen. I mean, just even getting up close to look at him, he is so real. And it takes multiple people to operate him. But when I turn around, I don't see those people. Those people are like off remotely.
Mm-hmm.
I turn around and I see him in the doorway, and he's just like looking up, and his ears are twitching. Stuff. He's so remarkable and magical. As Zero, he and I played a little hide and seek in the Razor Crest, and he won. Yeah.
Well, Mando helped. Mando helped. He thought he was using the Force,
Right. I was like, no. And then that's all I
Really do be like that sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
We have to talk about the alien scene with you and Mando in the elevator. I think it's honestly one of the coolest little scenes, I think. And then when I found out you were playing him, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. Thank you.
it's just, I mean, it's a little bit like, that's what makes Star Wars cool. I think there's these like little bits, and it's like this awkward thing. And Aaron and I were complaining about there wasn't any blood, and then we get blood with this like head in a
severed
sack type
head
thing, and severed
Right.
head, and you notice that you walk in the elevator like just like anybody normal, and here's Mando with a severed head. And I just can you walk me through like what was the prep there?
Yes. So they told me I was like a fancy alien from this environment that and I was kind of a wealthy, alien. And so to see something as rough and horrifying as this character who wanders in with a bloody head in a bag, that would really be shocking. So I did this so many different ways. And was blessed to work with Jon Favreau and Bryce Dallas Howard on this. Now, that whole shot was a one shot. Okay, if you go back and watch it, it's a one shot into the elevator and then out of the elevator, and then like it was all one. So, and all we were working on was the timing of the Cascadag, my character. The timing of me and Mando looking at each other. And so like I did it one time where I look at him and look down, and then I look up at him and then look back, and then I'm like I like step out of frame. And then there's also I was just or just trying a whole bunch of different things, different timing and stuff. And so Bryce Dallas Howard is a bundle of joy to work with. She's so funny and joyful and happy about what we're doing. And John said, "All right, Chris, come over here. Let's look at this on the monitor." He goes, "I'm going to take you to comedy school." And I was like, "Okay, cool." He's like,
okay, let's do
just
it.
what you're doing, but we're going to time it just a little bit different. So then I tried it a couple ways, like he was talking about, and ultimately that's what we did. Is we just wanted to time it. We didn't want it to be overly goofy,
right?
But we did want it to be a little bit of like everybody is a little bit awkward in an elevator, right?
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
So,
like
how
about them bears? I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Right. Like how long am I going to be in here?
Right.
What's that smell? Or did I look at that person? And so that's what we were trying to do, and just make it a little bit awkward. So after I look at Mando, and then I look down, then he's supposed to be looking at me, and I look back up at him, and then I look away, and then I start breathing really heavy. And that was because there's no emotion on the face that I can control, right?
Right.
And so that's how I approached it. But it was fun to not be a droid, and to not die. I didn't die.
Isn't that nice?
Yes, I like.
Your story could still continue.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
So I have a question that I'd like to get in before we wrap up. Yeah. When we wrap up is so for those who know, I love droids. They're my favorite part of Star Wars.
Oh.
I love them more than the human characters. Are to, I believe, has saved all of Star Wars. That's my personal opinion. Anyway, I would just love, Chris, your opinion or your thoughts on droids and some of these aliens that you've played. Like, what makes them so endearing for fans that's different than, I mean, Leia's treasured for obvious reasons, and stormtroopers have their iconic look, and obviously Han and Luke have their hero moments, and but what makes it from being able to portray them,
right? What
is that endearing part, do you think?
I think because in the Star Wars universe, droids are appliances. They are like refrigerators or microwave ovens. They're not used as people or family members. They're used as a tool that can be, worn out and thrown away.
Right.
But I think what makes them endearing is, we're all, I assume we all love animals here.
Yes.
Everybody here have a dog or a cat. Yeah, dog or a cat owners.
Yep.
Cat
or
mom.
hamsters or whatever. Yeah. So, the droids don't have expressions that can change really. And so, especially like R2. R2 is like a puppy, right? You can't understand what he's saying. He has no way to express his emotion other than just what you can hear. But we love puppies, right? And a lot of it, so much of it comes from the performance of the audio designer for R2, Ben Burt, and in 3PO's account or any droid's account, these faces have no real expression that you can assign to it. But if you look at him, he looks surprised or worried, and that was really C-3PO's trait, right?
Right.
Other droids like Zero, he where'd he go? Where'd you go, buddy? Oh, there he is. Zero, he has this praying mantis look to him, doesn't he? And so really the design of the character is half of what we're assigning, an emotion to it. But droids in general, there's all kinds of droids, Heather. There's
True.
There's really helpful droids like R2, and to some extent C-3PO. And then there's there's droids with we could say poor programming, who do cause harm, and like the Dark Troopers in season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, the droids that I've worked with, I think, why do we love them so much? I think because they are innocent largely. R2, 3PO. R2 and 3PO are also the audience, if you think about it. They don't know what's going on. They're thrust into this, and this would be really a great question for Anthony Daniels. And I'm just giving my own 2 cents, but the droids like those are really a fish out of water kind of a thing, and they're really the audience, how the audience would see all the things that are happening in the story. But other droids, like I said, like Zero, I approached him like a combination of C-3PO and Boba Fett mixed together. He's a droid, but he's cool. Boba Fett before the new Boba Fett, before we knew anything more about Boba Fett. And then after I did my screen test, I went and watched videos of praying mantises, and they are creepy.
They are creepy.
If you watch the praying mantis, like how they move is like their head is like totally separate from their body and movement, and that's how I treated Zero.
You come on set. Listen, I watched 24 hours of praying mantises, and it was crazy.
Yeah. No, I just showed up and I was just glaring at everybody. When I put on the helmet, I would walk around like, I was very they didn't know what I was going to do because I looked so scary. But anyway, yeah, that's
that.
Now my feeling on real robots, like robots in cinema are really cool. Robots in real life are terrifying. Like I don't like that there are robots, around that are listening to my conversation and then interpreting maybe what I want to buy or and making suggestions to me like, no, I'm good. I'm a human. I don't need your suggestions. Okay? And things like that. Like, if a robot makes a mistake, it could be a really, also they don't have human emotions so far. They don't have the nuances of human interaction and knowing like, well, maybe I'll give a pass to this guy. Maybe he just doesn't know everything, as much as I do. So he's acting in a way that is not fully informed. He just made a mistake. Whereas a robot would be like right, wrong, no, you're gone,
Right.
and that kind of thing. So robots, I love the technology and the idea behind them and stuff, but they can be kind of scary. But in cinema, they're lovable and cool.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we're coming up to the end of our time here. We're going to wrap it up. Can you, is there anything that you're currently working on or anything you'd like to promote that you can share with our listeners and our viewers? That you can talk about.
Going through the disclaimer list.
Not gonna poke.
Make it through.
Yeah.
I will just say, we're all Star Wars fans. We grew up with Star Wars. We love this galaxy, the magic of it, and I think that the things that I'm doing are just very rewarding.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll be very happy as Star Wars fans when you see some of this stuff, all of this stuff that currently I'm working on. But I'm on Instagram, so I do. If you go to Chris F. Bartlett on Instagram, that is I share some a lot of Star Wars stuff and my take on things. A little bit of inspirational stuff on there, just from my experiences as working or being human, which is really only like half the time. And so, yeah, you can see some stuff on there too. But I'll never spoil anything because no one really likes spoilers as much as people want say they do. They don't. It's magical to see these things when they're done, because they're not some you can't explain the illusion or the illusion of the story, the illusion of the character. All I can say is this year is going to be friggin' amazing for
there
Star
you go.
Oh boy.
Just this year is going to be so fun.
Awesome.
Awesome.
You'll love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Krish, for coming on the show with us. We really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing all of your stories and experiences. We're just so happy to have you on and get to chat with you for the last hour.
Oh, I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for having me. I love that you have great questions. And this has been so fun to be able to talk about, because like I said, I just love to talk about Star Wars. And
well, that's why we have a podcast, because
I know. So thank you for having me. I hope I get to see some of you at the conventions. I always encourage people to come in costume, because I love to take pictures with them and post. Carla, post them on Instagram, because my first love was costuming, and it continues to be costuming, but also performing. And so I just love to highlight that stuff. So come over and take a picture, and I'll post it on my on the Instagram.
There you go.
Will you be at Celebration?
Yes, I will be at Celebration.
Awesome. I'll see you there then.
Okay,
there you go.
Good. Will the rest of you be there?
No.
TBD.
Okay. Well, we will. You'll be there in spirit with us. And,
That's right.
Yes.
Of course.
And there'll be lots of stuff to see. So, how Lucasfilm always and Disney always has lots of coverage of that stuff, and it'll be really fun. So, Carla, I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Yes, it's going to be fun. Very, very excited after the 3-year hiatus.
Yes, right. I know, right? It's been too long.
Too long.
But, it's the same amount of time that we used to have between films.
Oh, I know.
That's true.
Right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes
We've been spoiled rotten.
sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of quiet time in between, so you can anticipate the new stories. I mean, I love that Disney is releasing, one episode at a time, and because then you talk about it all week, right?
Yep.
And thinking about it, and then when it comes, it's like, oh, it's so rewarding. If you had Christmas every single day, it's just would lose it. Lose its magic, I think.
It's true.
That's true.
Or
That's
Life
true.
Day, whatever you celebrate. All right,
Awesome.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's go ahead and pay some bills. We are brought to you by audibletrial.com/WSTR. It's where you can get your free audiobook of your choice from a library of over 425,000 titles, plus 2 free Audible originals. It's a great way to support the podcast, get some entertainment and education in your life through the medium of audiobooks. So once again, that's audibletrial.com/WSTR. You're also brought to you by our Patreon, patreon.com/WSTR Media. We've got exclusive content there that you can't get anywhere else. These people are enjoying it. Why aren't you? That's Jeremy Myers, Scarif Scuttlebutt, Elena Strikes, Nicholas Schaefer, Rural Farm Boy, David Sager, and Kevin Abato. Thank you so much for underwriting this podcast. We really couldn't do it without you. So if you want to get some exclusive WSTR content you can't get anywhere else, join them over at patreon.com/WSTR Media. Okay, bills are paid. Carla, it's time to take out that trash.
Get in there, you big polio! I don't care what you smell!
All right. So, if you've been living under a trash can for the last month, you'll know that we have been celebrating all things John Williams in honor of his birthday month. So we did the original trilogy, we did the prequel trilogy, we did the sequel trilogy, and now we're talking all things outside of Star Wars with John Williams. So we went to Twitter and we asked, what is your favorite track by John Williams outside of the Star Wars universe collectively? And of course, comments and write-ins are always welcome. But our 4 choices were the Jurassic Park theme, the Raiders theme, Jaws theme, or the Superman theme. And we did have a couple of write-ins. Our very own Todd over here put in a little GIF from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a good one.
We had the Backyard TARDIS who said, Raiders theme is so fun and catchy, and Jurassic Park is so majestic and beautiful. But I'm going with Superman.
Oh.
Nothing takes me back to being a kid like hearing the Superman theme.
Yeah.
Well
Good
said.
one.
Well said.
Good one, Nick.
Then we've got Darth Papa Bear, who said, outside of Star Wars, ? Empire Strikes Back, hashtag A New Hope will always be just Star Wars to me. Hashtag
Oh my
I'm
God.
Very literal there, Papa Bear.
I mean, he's technically not wrong, right?
He's not wrong, but it was very literally taken. Yes.
Yes. And then we also had Spencerian, who said, such a tough choice between Jurassic Park and Raiders. Gotta give it to Raiders, though.
Ooh.
And then we've got Chantel, who said, I'm still trying to decide on which one to vote for. It was a tough choice.
It's tough.
I feel you, girl. It's tough.
That's right. It's tough.
Yeah. So 4 choices. So Raiders, Jurassic Park, Jaws, Superman. What'd you guys pick?
My vote is for Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Us boys like dinosaurs, so it was
It's
Jurassic.
true. It's true.
It's true. True. It was Jurassic for me too.
Okay.
I like
I am secret option E.
What?
Ooh.
E?
I know.
Oh.
I'm a write-in vote.
You renegade.
I am. I am Hedwig's theme
Oh.
all the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're pulling Aaron. Last week, I think Aaron tried to split his vote 0.5 and 0.5. So,
Yeah.
right in is fine.
I'm a greasy weasel.
Okay. Carla, what you?
Well, you boys like the dinosaurs. Heather, you like the magical owls. But I'm with Team Shark because to me, like Jaws is one of the OG, like John Williams, but also like it's just so I don't know, like that.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, it's just classic.
It hits different.
Dan. Yeah,
Yes.
Dan Captain Oblivion basically said that it's the most recognizable song in like 2 notes.
Mhm.
And
Oh, sure.
I mean, that's the beauty of what John brought there, He also, we talked about this. He also mentioned Close Encounters, which is another one, which is like, it's built into the movie as far as how they communicate. And it's a very fun thing that John put together, so it's the beauty of John. He knows it all. He knows the magic.
He's a genius.
But what did Twitter vote, Carla?
So, Twitter went with the Raiders theme. Everybody likes Indy. So,
All right.
I mean, good, solid pick, everybody. So
you can't go wrong with any of these choices.
Exactly.
Right.
It's just preference. That's all.
Right.
So Raiders coming in number 1, Jurassic Park, not too far behind, number 2. Superman, 3rd place, and then Jaws fell in at 4th.
Oh.
But they're all wonderful. So
they are wonderful.
But yeah, that's all the trash I got. So thanks for voting, people. We got a lot of votes this week.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Keep it coming.
Keep it coming.
But now I think we've got some news to read.
I have the news.
The news of the week.
And now, the Star Wars news of the week.
I just had a funny thought of Heather, like, if you guys have seen Anchorman, when he's like running back to the station, I have to read the news. Like, I just see Heather, like, I have to read the news.
It's true.
Heather has always teased that she's going to have a outfit on the ready to change into for reading the news. She hasn't delivered yet. I'm still holding out some hope here.
I have nothing close by.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need to have it on the ready. Like, you talk about the fedora or something, put on a jacket,
We have video now. We could do like a pre-recorded thing.
Right.
All right.
Rambo.
Where'd that headband come from?
All right.
Okay, Hunter.
Hunter.
Thegamer.com.
Oh, no.
Is where we head to first.
What do we got?
Star Wars Eclipse reportedly will not release until 2027. The reason why? Nobody wants to work on it.
Oh, no.
Yikes.
Right? So that reveal trailer might have been a bit premature.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So even by gaming industry standards, the allegations Quantic Dream has faced over the years are kind of damning. With a boss that reportedly throws around some slurs and coworkers or photoshopping not appropriate things, and just it's not good, people.
Right.
But multiple insiders are reporting that Star Wars Eclipse will launch in 2027 at the earliest, as the studio faces some staffing issues. We're looking at maybe 6 years in between Eclipse's reveal and then its release, raising questions as to why it was teased last year at all. So X-Fire's Tom Henderson reported yesterday that development is suffering as a result of some hiring issues. Some sources claim that the game was revealed early to attract new developers, since working on the next big Star Wars games is, kind of an attractive prospect. The problem? They say this hasn't worked and they're unable to bring on new talent. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So For those of you who are, my co-hosts, did you watch the trailer? Were you excited about the trailer? Are we disappointed in this delay?
I mean, excited for the trailer, but then unfortunately all that stuff came out about the studio head and that kind of thing. And, it's not good. It doesn't, I mean, again, it's not the whole studio, but he is the head of the studio, and those comments, good. I totally get it. I mean, I don't think you should cancel the game or cancel the studio. I just think you need to do some PR and figure it out. And he needs to have a public apology and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I get it. It's kind of like an online resume, like, hey, check out this cool thing. But, why even reveal it if you don't even have any kind of prototype or anything? They just made a CGI movie. It's like, well, okay, well.
Well, what I've heard is like putting out a trailer like this basically announces to anybody who wants to work in games, like, hey, we're working on a thing, y'all. You like Star Wars? Come on in.
Come on by.
You always wanted to work on a Star Wars game? Here's your chance. Except this time it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was not. And part of me feels like this is also on Lucasfilm or Lucas Games. Like, I mean, come on, do your homework. If you're gonna pick a up-and-coming studio, totally get it. But like, if there's skeletons in a closet and somebody else can find it real quickly, you didn't do your job. And unfortunately, Lucas Games, their canceled games is more than their published games. It's just it's a sad thing. So I hope we do see the light of day of this game. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait, but it is what it is.
Okay. Well,
okay,
hold on to your horses, people.
All right, Hunter, what's next? What's next, Hunter?
So, comicbook.com states that Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 3 is reportedly adding a new star. And that star is from Parks and Recreation.
Oh my God.
What? I know.
Who could it be?
I don't know. I have a video that's preventing me from giving you things. Oh my gosh.
No.
All right,
how embarrassing.
Here we go. I got it. We're good. Everyone stay with me.
All right.
The third season of The Mandalorian is currently being filmed, with some upcoming adventures, potentially adding the Parks and Rec star, Jim O'Hare. But that's all that I know, because it's an undisclosed role. The authenticity of this report yet hasn't been verified. So these details were revealed during a conversation between O'Hare and Rob Lowe on Lowe's podcast's Parks and Recollection. So during the exchange, O'Hare played it coy, while it was Lowe who implied that his former co-star was involved. It's really basically a rumor. So
probably can't say too much, and so he's got to walk around it.
Yeah. But we do have to love stories like this that come onto the news where it's like, hey, this might be happening, but we don't know and nothing's been verified. So,
Cool,
start placing your bets.
Yeah, we maybe should have some odds. Yeah.
It's just a wild bantha chase, Heather.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
Gosh.
I mean, I'd be down to see some Jerry and The Mandalorian. Great show.
Oh, that's great. I mean, basically, just give us some fun stuff. We're not too picky. That's a lie. We are very picky, but
very true.
Okay. So it is a sad day. NBC News. Alan Ladd Jr., the Oscar-winning producer behind Star Wars and Braveheart, has passed away at the age of 84.
Oh.
Also responsible for films such as Once Upon a Time in America, The Right Stuff, Blade Runner. Blah, 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 blah. It states
Reboot.
with the heaviest
You're doing
of hearts.
great. You're doing
Thank
great.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
With the heaviest of hearts, we announced that on March 2nd, 2022, Alan Ladd Jr. died peacefully at home, surrounded by his family. Words cannot express how deeply he will be missed. His impact on films and filmmaking will live on in his absence. And that was from his daughter, Amanda.
I mean, it point blank, without Alan Ladd Jr., we would not have Star Wars. I mean, he's just one of those advocates that made it happen and actually got, the studio Fox to publish it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's definitely a player that goes unrecognized behind the scenes to get this movie to happen.
So, as always, thoughts and prayers to his family, and we thank him for his contributions to the Star Wars galaxy.
Rests eternally in the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't even know this was a website.
Okay, what kind of website is it, Heather?
It is called brickfanatics.com.
Fantastic.
I mean, who knew, people? Oh. Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, DLC details confirmed.
Ooh.
So, WB Games has confirmed details for Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga's downloadable content, including characters available in the game's season. A total of 7 DLC packs. Would someone please explain to the news anchor what a DLC is, please?
Downloadable content.
Gracias. So these 7 packs will be encompassing characters from beyond the main 9 movies. They'll be available for purchase individually or as part of a character collection season pass, which will grant players access to the add-on packs when they go live. 4 of the 7 packs will be available at launch, April 5th, including The Mandalorian Season 1 and Solo, a Star Wars story. Classic characters, troopers, those packs will also be available to download on launch day for players who have pre-ordered through select retailers for early access, and to everyone else from April 19th to May 4th, respectively. Everybody got those dates and details? Because that seems not at all convoluted.
Jot it down.
Another character pack will be based on Rogue One, and that's going to arrive about April 19th, with 2 final packs based on The Mandalorian season Dose and The Bad Batch, which of course will launch on May 4th for Star Wars Days.
Fantastic.
I don't know how much time y'all have, but I can go through this like complete rundown of every playable and non-playable character.
Let's not.
Okay. So very quickly, we've got Mandalorian Season 1, Solo, a Star Wars story. I've got classic characters, Trooper Pack, Rogue One, The Mandalorian Season Dose, and The Bad Batch. So those are all of our big, groupings, and then all of the fun characters in between. But let me tell you, there is quite a bit.
How many?
So,
Wow.
more than 300.
Oh my God.
What?
Wow.
This game is massive.
This game will be across all major modern gaming platforms, which will include PS5, the Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC.
Well,
nice.
You think they're going to pull it off, or is this going to be a flop?
No, I think they're going to pull it off. I mean, it's been delayed 2 years, so
it's true.
So they better pull it off.
Yeah, they better pull it off. Yeah, I mean, this was my COVID. That was my COVID game. They're like April of 2020 or yeah. I was like, yes, and then like COVID happened. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I get to play Lego Star Wars while I'm in solitude and can't talk to anybody. And they're like, oh, it's delayed. And you're like, no.
Should have jumped on the Animal Crossing bandwagon.
I need to get a Switch, yo. Yeah. I'm super excited for this. It'll be great.
I'm not like big into the Lego games, But I think because of like the nature of this one, because it's all encompassing and it's gonna have all the extra, characters and stuff.
Yeah.
I might dabble in this one. So I might dabble in this one.
All right. Well, we have a game that's been delayed. We have a game we're really excited about.
Yeah.
There's
to our
just-
eyeballs and
excited that
games.
I'm just excited that you found a headband and put it on for the news. So
It was smooth.
it was smooth. Yeah.
I am nothing if not a professional.
Right.
But Heather, now you realize every time you do the news, that headband's got to go on now.
Well, I'm like, do I do the same headband or do I just try to find a different piece of headwear for every single news?
Yes.
I like that.
That's
Switch it
the
up.
one.
Okay.
Switch it up. Keep us on our toes, man.
Great. And that is news of the week.
All right. That can mean only one thing. It's time for Cantina Chat. All right, the part of the show where we talk about everything geeky and weird going on with our lives. Carla, you've been busy. What have you been doing?
Oh my gosh. Well, I haven't been here for a few weeks. But it was my birthday.
You don't take attendance. It's fine.
Birthday.
It's my birthday.
Happy
weeks ago.
birthday.
And so for the record, I can't sing to save my life, but I don't care because we went out and we did karaoke and it was great. And it was so much fun. And my boyfriend Brian coordinated the whole thing, got a group of friends together. And so yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I had no voice the next day. It was perfect.
And in fact, I think that's why you couldn't come on the podcast. You're like, my voice, it's gone.
Yeah, I was shot. I was shot.
Yeah.
It still wasn't like feeling too great, but yeah, my voice was donezo. So yeah, that was fun. Been diving into my new PS5 games that I picked up. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
The second one, Forbidden West. But I never finished the first one. So I started the new one and I'm like, I should probably just go back and play the main quest, the storyline for the first one. And then I could go then I could go back and do all the other. I mean, I had major things spoiled right at the beginning, so I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But it's fine.
It's kind of a prerequisite, Carla. Got to finish the game.
I know. Yeah. Well, because what happens, with Fallen Order, is I start it, and then I just kind of slowly forget, and then I'm like, oh, I never finished that. But guys, I finally finished Fallen Order.
Hey!
3 years later. Done.
Fabuloso.
Yeah. So enjoyed that. But can I tell you what I'm semi enjoying? Elden Ring. Wow.
There you go.
People were not kidding when they're like, you've never played Dark Souls, you've never played Bloodborne. Have fun with that one. It's yeah. I don't think I've screamed. I'm gonna, keep this PG. WTF so many times, while playing a game. I mean, I turn around and I got killed by a rat. A rat.
You thought Fallen Order was hard.
Yeah, I'm just what is this game? There's rats. Then you've got these guys on horseback and they just come through with their javelins. They just, they whack you and there's giant crabs. I'm like, what is this game? I can't even walk through. I can't even walk through the open and the game is absolutely beautiful. The map. All of that. It's gorgeous.
You're just getting eaten by rats. The rat ate your toe and you're dead,
I can't even walk through the open map without turning around and then just the you died screen. I can't even do anything.
Hey, in case you didn't know, you died.
And there's no level difficulty setting.
Oh.
So it's just good luck. Figure it out.
Have a great pass at it.
Yeah. But I'm determined. I know it's going to take a long time, but I'm determined to push through and just keep going.
You got this.
Yeah. So,
It'll take you 3 years. It'll be fine.
it's fine. It's fine.
That's fine.
And then went and saw the Batman yesterday.
Nice.
I loved it. I thought it was excellent.
Did you have to go up and pee because it's like 3 hours, right?
Todd, do you know who you're talking to? Sat through Lord of the Rings Extended throughout all 3. I got this. It did feel really long though. Because I think at one point I was like, how long have we been sitting here? Like, you know.
Feel my butt.
But yeah. I did have to, like, towards the end I was like, oh man, I really gotta get up. I gotta go to the bathroom. But I was like, no, I can't. It's definitely like towards the end. So but yeah, I mean, I'm not a big DC Batman fan. I mean, I'm a very casual Surface fan. And I thought Robert Pattinson was great. Zoe Kravitz, right? That's her name, the actress. Mm-hmm. Great as Catwoman, but really, Paul Dano as the Riddler, like, nailed it. Like, nice. He was the part of that movie that I was like, whoa. Just really, really good. So definitely go see, people, even if you're not into the whole Batman shtick. It's a good film. Yeah. So,
right on.
It's been my life.
Nice.
Heather, what have you been up to?
Hi. A lot of adulting. But outside of the adulting, continuing to do my sign language class. It continues to go well. I'm not sure if you're aware of this as an adult and you go back to school and you learn something and you like really enjoy the class and you love, you know, practicing with your teacher in class and learning. There's like homework and like tests and it takes up time and you gotta I mean, I'm just using muscles I've not used in a long time.
Yeah.
Last week was the first week that I was like, oh, snap. So it's fine. We're all good. But that was, you know, a moment in my life. I also finished my audiobook. It was a biography on Jim Henson. It was exceptionally good. It was fun because it, as Chris was talking, where, you know, with Grogu and the whole thing of like, you just don't notice the other people. It was fun in the autobiography. He's like, Jim's like, yeah, you literally have Kermit on your hand. You are connected to him, but the people around and the kids could care less that you're standing there because they're so enthralled with Kermit. And I just think that's so great. So then, of course, I watched the Muppet movie because
you have to.
It's required by law.
So that's a huge win. And then this past weekend, my friend Heather, my namesake, we have the same first name and middle name, and our last names before she got married were awkwardly the same. She was Aldrin. I'm all red. So Heather Lynn Aldrin, Heather Lynn Allred. We both have cats and we craft. It's weird.
That's whack.
She came over and helped get my Singer Red-Eye Treadle sewing machine hooked up and running. So we had a bit of a antique sewing nerd fest. That's a thing, right?
It's definitely a thing.
Okay. It's past 10 o'clock, people. The weird factor just goes straight up. So
we're quickly losing control of the podcast.
That's why we save it for the end here.
Yep.
Of course.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Todd, what have you been up to lately?
Aaron, so glad you asked, Aaron. I've got on this kick at Netflix and I'm watching a Korean called All of Us Are Dead, and it's a Korean zombie series.
Cool.
Wait,
And
have
it's
I heard of this?
fantastic. It's fantastic. It's like so this last weekend I stayed up to like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and because I'm like watching a couple episodes after the kids go to bed, obviously. And so I'm like, it's really good. So I've been somewhat binging on it. I didn't go all the way through. I mean, it's a couple episodes, but yeah, it's fun. And they're not slow zombies. They're like super aggressive zombies. So it adds that like primal kind of scary stuff. And yeah, it's great. But there's still like really cool bits between, it's about like these high schoolers basically. And so, yeah, it's really good. And it's, it's cool seeing a different culture handle a zombie thing. So All of Us Are Dead. It's on Netflix. It's probably like number 1 or 2 or whatever. But yeah, you'll find it there. So been doing that.
Yeah. It reminds me of just looking at it quickly. It reminds me of Battle Royale, kind of.
Yes. Yep.
Or like Hunger Games for you American folks.
Yeah, no, it's just cool. Like seeing, the culture part is what really fascinates me about like Korean culture and like the school and how they handle like schooling and stuff like that. It's really cool. And so they show, it's got all those kind of dynamics that make it very interesting. And there just happens to be like, zombies and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
doing that. I don't think anything else. I'm going to save this for next week because we got to vote on. We've done all this John Williams stuff, which has been fantastic.
Yes,
but we got to have one more final vote. We got a
great tiebreaker.
We got to pick. We got to pick the song.
Okay.
So we're gonna take all our winners, put them in there, and we got to pick our song. So we will do that for next week. So we'll save that. But yeah, that's been super fun. You're good, and we loved like the boys. We thought we had it won. We're like, yeah, Jurassic Park, fantastic. We got it in the bag, and then Heather and Carla come back and just swipe it, and that's okay. It's all good. It's democracy. We have to.
Yeah.
Right. Hedwig magically rises like a phoenix, and like Hedwig just shows up like number 3. Like, what is this? And we were, honestly, Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones were like right there, even for us. And so, even with your votes, it was decided by 1 point. So that's how close those 2 songs are. But yeah, it was cool, kind of seeing you guys come behind us. And then like, oh, here's Hedwig. Here's, so yeah, that was super fun. So yeah, pretty much it.
Awesome.
Aaron?
Well, I've been working hard getting the video portion of this podcast together, and I'm actually kind of surprised that it works for this episode. There's still some nuts and bolts to tighten down here and there, but I'm really pleased with it so far. I just kind of feel like the past few years, I've not really invested as much into the podcast as I could have. And, obvious reasons are school. Like, there's only
I'm
Heather limited.
Mentioned this homework thing. Yeah. Heather mentioned this homework thing. So
yeah. There's only so much I can do, but I realize now that it's like, I have the bandwidth. There's ways that we can make this podcast better. And so I decided to invest some more into it, and it's been a lot of problem solving and figuring things out and a lot of work, but I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's coming along pretty nicely, and can't wait to see where it goes. And kind of in the same vein, I have this freelance job where I run sound for a local church, and they're currently homeless. They don't have a permanent building. They've been like renting out hotel ballrooms every week. And so we have to like set up and tear down each week. And they just switched from an analog board to a digital one. So I've been having to figure that out and get that working. And it's been a nightmare. And also part of that is just figuring out the things that we should have been doing the whole time, but haven't been doing.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
make a stage plot so you know where all the musicians stand and where all the gear goes, and how do you run wires so people aren't tripping over things, and lots of different stuff. So it's coming along really well, but I've also been very, very busy. I'm ready for a nap. Once we get everything sorted out and I'm no longer figuring out new systems and ways of doing things, then I can kind of settle into a routine again and I can relax. But we're very nearly there.
Crash. Yeah, or your PC just randomly crashes.
Yeah, just starts smoking and going up in flames. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Well, everything looks awesome, Aaron, and we appreciate you very much.
Thank you. It makes me glad to hear that. All right, that's about it for this episode of WSTR. So thanks again for listening and watching. You on YouTube, whether it's the live stream or the video version of the podcast. So you can find us on the socials: Heather at Hawk Awesome, Carla at Carla Marie Giach, Todd at Tizad, and myself at Aaron Julian. We're also part of the Red 5 Network. It's a fantastic network of Star Wars podcasts. You can check them out at Red 5 Network. That's numeral 5. And of course, our own handle at WSTR Media. We want to hear from you, so please comment, tweet, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. If you give us a 5-star rating, we'll throw some swag directly into your face without asking. You can retweet or email us a screenshot of the rating and we will read it on the next podcast. You can catch our entire back catalog of episodes at podcast.wstrmedia.com or anywhere that fine podcasts are sold. We've also got a merch store, store.wstrmedia.com. I think that's my next project once we get the video thing knocked out, is refreshing that store because some dust has accumulated. It's time to blow it off and start anew. So we'll be refreshing that store eventually. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/WSTR Media. As we mentioned before, a bunch of patrons are enjoying exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. And I'm going to be adding to that pretty soon with probably a grand tour of everything behind the scenes WSTR. I think that'll be pretty interesting. At least until my Star Wars D&D game.
Just throw in some drone footage too. That'd be cool. Throw in the drone, you know.
Oh, I don't have that, but I'll see what I can do. I could probably buy some stock footage or whatever.
Okay. Well, then like a boom cam. Do some boom cam,
something like that. Thanks everybody in the YouTube chat for hanging out with us during recording. This live stream will go away and will be lost in the sands of time, but we really do appreciate you hanging out with us. It's a hoot. You should join us. That's Monday nights at 9:00 Central Standard Time ish. That's over at livestream.wstrmedia.com. That'll take you to our YouTube page. That's where you can join us for the live streams if you want to catch the action a couple days early, or just wait around for the edited episode on Wednesday. Your choice. But frankly, I love the live environment. I love that energy a bit more than something pre-produced. So take your pick. And if you have any ideas for...
Cats. You can see cats.
You can see cats. Yeah. If you have any ideas for a show or would love us to interview someone, and not like, hey, go interview Favreau or Filoni, but like you can actually get us the hookup. Drop us an email.
Obama's a fan.
Come on, work on it.
So,
someone out there knows him.
I'm on it.
Somebody knows a guy who knows a guy.
Oh yeah, put that out on the HoloNet. Someone will pick up. Yeah. So drop us an email at mailbox@wstrmedia.com. Leave us a voicemail at 630-557-WSTR. That's 630-557-9787. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on an upcoming episode of the podcast, or we could correspond with you on securing that guest. Next week, episode 261. We need to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the special editions. That's going to be a jam-packed episode, so you won't want to miss that. All right, y'all. There's only one way to end this episode. Now this is podcasting. See ya.